My group has been playing Rime of the Frostmaiden, where I play an Owlin Mercy Monk. We're all having a great time with it, but recently our Dwarven Conquest Paladin expressed a problem she's been having, one that's a common complaint in D&D combat. If you miss, that's your turn. You've got your bonus action and movement, but if your character's built to just get in an enemy's face and hit them with a big sword, and you miss, there's nothing else you can do. It's a binary, high variance system. Sometimes you just fail, but I don't think it has to be that way. The entire game is built around taking risks, with multiple states of success and failure. Just because you failed to persuade the guard to let you into the building, doesn't mean there aren't 1,000 more tricks up your sleeve. Some of those may be harder now, but it's not just, it doesn't happen, next person. And this isn't even an encounter design problem. You can make the most interesting encounter, with an interactable environment, enemy variety, and multiple objectives. But when the fighter rolls a 1 and a 2 on his attack rolls and ends his turn, that just doesn't feel good. So, like a true professional, I'm here to expound my solution to the problem without having done any research into what other people have said. Feel free to use, tweak, or ignore anything I say. Let's get into it. When I first thought about this, there were a couple ideas that I thought up that I instantly swept away. Stuff like, what if when someone misses, you just give them an extra bonus action or something? Masks is fun. What if you could still reward the player for failure? But those ideas would either be unbalanced or require a fundamental change to how D&D combat works. But then, I had an epiphany. During my playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3, there's been one rule change that has stuck out to me. Reckless attack. In 5th edition, as a barbarian, you can throw aside all concern for defense to attack recklessly. This gives you advantage on your attacks at the cost of every attack against you until your next turn also having advantage. It's a tactical rule that fits into the flavor of a barbarian being a raging, tanky fighter. Baldur's Gate 3 only makes one change. You can choose to attack recklessly after you know you've missed. That one simple change adds a lot to the ability. It turned it from something that had a little risk and reward, but felt a little statistical, into something that feels desperate. The idea of having some kind of last resort you can play after you've already rolled is really interesting to me, and there's precedent already there for inspiration, but I think it needs a lot more stakes. And so, I introduced my system I'm calling Desperate Attack. Attacking desperately works like this. Once per round, after you've made an attack roll against an enemy, and you know you've missed, you can choose to attack desperately. You will hit your target, but your attack will deal the same amount of damage to you. Picture this. The party is low, the cleric is down, and the evil knight is bloodied but is still putting up a fight. It's the fighter's turn, but up next is the knight, and the party doesn't know if the knight is going to try to escape, finish off the cleric, or maybe both. The fighter runs at the knight, and with a swing cuts through the heavy armor to bring the knight to death's door, but rolls a natural 2 to finish the knight off, whose sword is pointing out directly in front of him. The fighter, who's low himself, now has a few seconds to make a decision. Allow the enemy's blade to puncture his abdomen to get close enough for the killing blow with no cleric around, or hope the knight simply attempts to escape rather than vindictively kill the cleric on the way out. A wizard stands on a rooftop above a raid happening below them, hurling firebolts at goblins too quick to hit. She knows how to control the weave, shift a spell that is flying off target into her enemies, but there cannot be an imbalance, and every action causes an equal and opposite reaction. She makes her choice. As she flicks her wrist, a firebolt that was headed for the ground instantly shoots left directly into the back of a raiding goblin. And simultaneously, magical energy courses up her arm and into her neck like a nerve being pinched. A drunken monk uses a chair as a weapon, and as they hit, the wood shatters into a million splinters, most of which go into their arm and their face. That's the rule. Continue what the game is good at, incentivizing risky behavior. Make a deal with the devil to make sure you hit. Not every character in a game has to use this. I don't think my character would choose to make this unless they were truly desperate. But the player who plays the Dwarven Conquest Paladin said they would, and I know a few of my characters in other campaigns that would as well. I'm honestly not sure how balanced this is. We haven't tried this in any games we've run yet. I could see a few tweaks being tried out as well, such as only doing half damage to you, maybe only doing half damage to you and the enemy, or if you really wanted to be a stressful choice, full damage to you but half damage to the enemy. Another tweak could be to remove the "and you know you've missed" part, make it more of a gamble. Did that 17 hit, or are you desperate enough to make sure it did? The only reason I really included that was because I like what Baldur's Gate 3 did with Reckless, and I think that later in the fight when this ability would be used more, players have likely already deduced the AC of the creature anyway. But that's the rule. Let me know what you think down below, and if this is something you try at your table, and if so, what would you change about it? Thanks for watching, and thank you all for getting me to 600 subscribers. I've only made 2 D&D videos, the last of which was posted 8 months ago, but I've watched every comment roll in with a big smile on my face. I'll try to reduce the gap for the next video. Thanks again.